As the former owner of a Santa Cruz Bullet back in 2000, the bike delivered an amazingly plush ride with its 150mm of rear and 160mm of front coil-sprung hydraulically dampened suspension. The Bullet was a long travel or free ride bike, what would be a modern-day enduro bike. The terms were different back then. The Heckler was Santa Cruz mid-travel trail slayer, dreaming of owning or even riding another early 2000s Bullet, when a friend invited me to check out his fully modernized 2004 Heckler. I realized this was as close as I might get. So for those of us who still fondly remember Santa Cruz turn-of-the-century full suspension radness, while appreciating all of the perks and benefits of modern components, here's MTB On Demand's test of this totally modernized 2002 to 2007 Santa Cruz Heckler 5. Heckler history. Featuring 80mm of rear wheel travel and a max 120mm travel fork for 2000 and 2001, the Heckler became much more formidable in 2002. A new frame delivered between 130 and 143mm of rear suspension travel depending upon the shock stroke, and could accept up to a 160mm travel fork. Longer, lower, and slacker frame designs were catching on over 20 years ago. The 2002 Heckler's 69-degree head tube angle was 2 degrees slacker. The wheelbase increased 1.6 inches from 41.9 to 43.5 inches on a size large. This was accompanied by a small reduction in standover from 29.25 to 29 inches, in spite of a dramatic increase in suspension travel. This model, the Heckler 5, ran from 2002 to 2006. Since this is the version we're testing, our history lesson will stop here. To learn more about the history of the Heckler, visit Santa Cruz Bike Archive. Stock bike overview. This Heckler was purchased as a complete bike in good running condition for a mere $150. Most of the original components were still on the bike, including the 3x9 SRAM X9 drivetrain, single piston Avid Juicy hydraulic disc brakes, and its original Fox suspension. The air-sprung fork is a 140mm travel Fox RLC featuring 32mm stanchions with compression and rebound damping adjustment. The rear shock is a Fox Float R air shock featuring rebound damping adjustment. The wheels were Maverick 321 rims laced to DT Swiss 340 hubs. Now, with all the upgrades installed, it's time to take this updated legend for a spin. To put the upgraded Heckler to the test, we headed to tight and twisty Terrell Park in Milford, Ohio, followed by a session on the faster, jumpier Sleepy Hollow Trail at DeVue Park in Covington, Kentucky. Local mountain bike rider and former BMX racer Greg Davis was kind enough to ride the Heckler for our cameras. Upgrading just about any bike should begin with the controls. PNW components were chosen for the job due to their performance, affordability, ability to color match most bikes, and their lifetime warranty. To modernize the cockpit, a set of PNW's Range Gen 3 handlebars were installed. They're constructed of 2014 aluminum due to its vibration damping quality. Their larger 35mm diameter was selected to add strength and reduce unwanted flex. At 800mm wide, they can easily be cut to your desired width. They feature a 30mm rise, 10-degree back sweep, and 5-degree up sweep, providing a more relaxed position for your arms and shoulders. The bars were paired with a 50mm long PNW Gen 3 stem. The latest version is constructed of CNC 6061 aluminum and is said to have reduced weight by 40 grams compared to its predecessor. A detachable aluminum front mount allows for the attaching of GoPros or mounting of headlights. PNW's Loam XL grips were chosen for their larger diameter, helping to spread out impacts. Featuring a lock-on design, their finned surface is designed to absorb vibration while allowing water to wick away. Their rubber compound was selected to balance durability and comfort. The combination of the wider bars and relatively short stem add a greater feeling of stability and control to the older geometry and highly responsive steering of the 26-inch wheels. We can easily see the combination of the range bars and stem working well on modern trail bikes as well. We'll probably rock them on future builds of our own. This is the second bike we've ridden with PNW's Loam XL grips. We continue to find them easy to hold onto for our average to larger size hands. Traction is great, and wear on ungloved hands is minimal. They do well at reducing vibration and spreading out pressure from impacts on your palms. Their lock-on design allows you to stand up and pedal, using the wider bars for added torque, without the fear of twisting or pulling off a grip. PNW's composite range pedals are constructed of a glass fiber reinforced nylon composite at a claimed weight of 390 grams per pair. They're available in a variety of colors to match your bike. At 108mm wide by 115mm long, they feature 22 steel pins and nuts per pedal to hold your foot in place. They pivot on chromoly axles, featuring cartridge bearings and an inbound bushing for long-lasting all-weather performance. We found their platform size plus the number and size of the steel pins to offer plenty of grip and control, while doing well at distributing impacts from harsh hits or pedal strikes. When pedal strikes occur, the nylon is color impregnated throughout, so there's no paint to scratch off like metal pedals. This helps maintain their good looks for far longer. Our only wish is that the pins were height adjustable. But for the price, they're pretty hard to beat. Dropper seat posts radically changed the way we ride, but they weren't a thing back in the early 2000s. This Heckler greatly benefits from one. Having had the seat tube drilled out for internal cable routing, this build features a race face effect dropper post delivering 175mm of drop. The bike's owner tells us that he's used these posts for years with zero issues to report. The post function is near perfection, easy to lower, returning at a good speed that won't take you to Pound Town. 175mm of on-the-fly seat post drop significantly upgrades the capability of this old-school sled for faster cornering and conquering near vertical descents with the seat well out of the way. A PNW Gen 2 Loam lever was chosen to control dropper post actuation. It's constructed of CNC billet aluminum. Sealed cartridge bearings help ensure consistent performance in wet, grimy conditions. Stainless steel hardware helps maintain the lever's appearance over time. The included silicone thumb pad is available in a number of colors to match PNW's other accessories. This is the second bike we've ridden with PNW's Loam Gen 2 lever. It's smooth, offers plenty of leverage, and is nicely tucked out of the way. The silicone lever pad provides a little extra grip in the wet, while adding another soft touch point that adds to the refined feeling of the cockpit. It's a small detail that we felt added a lot. The modernized drivetrain consists of a mixture of good Shimano and Shimano-compatible components. A Dior 11-speed shifter, XT derailleur, Sunrace 11-46 tooth cassette, and 32 tooth chainring are connected via an XTR chain. 175mm Truvative Stylo GPX aluminum cranks were utilized to transfer power to the drivetrain. Shifting is notably quicker and more precise than the old 3x drivetrain. With the benefit of the clutch-equipped XT derailleur, chain drops were not a problem, and the frequency of chain slap noise on the chainstays were greatly reduced, providing a much quieter and more pleasant ride. The loss of the front shifter, 2 extra chainrings, and front derailleur also lighten up the bike as well. After riding with this modern drivetrain setup, we couldn't imagine going back to the bike's original 3x drivetrain. To improve stopping power, on went a pair of Zoom HB876 quad piston calipers paired with a 180mm XT front rotor and a 160mm Origin 8 rotor out back. The Chinese Zoom brakes offer decent stopping power for the money, especially compared to this bike's original brakes. We have a pair on another bike that we own that's in need of its second bleeding in a short time, making us question their long-term performance. So we aren't sure we'd rock these brakes on a modern build, but they certainly offered a step up in performance for this retro upgrade. The hand-built set of nearly period-correct New Old stock wheels are comprised of Gen 1 Dior XT 6-bolt disc hubs, laced to Sun Ringley Rhinolite rims using DT Swiss black stainless spokes, paired with red anodized Wheelsmith alloy nipples. The wheel's inner width of 20.7mm is pretty narrow by today's standards, but they were historically strong rims. The wheels were wrapped in a new set of Maxxis tires, with a 26 by 2.5-inch DHF used up front and a 26 by 2.4-inch DHR2 used out back. EXO casings were used to keep weight to a minimum. The Maxxis Minions are superb tires for our area, providing excellent traction and predictability in intermediate to hard pack conditions. They hook up powering up hills, offer strong braking, and allow you to lay the bike over with confidence. The tires would perform even better on a set of wheels with a wider internal width for added support. The stock 140mm Travel Fox fork was maintained, utilizing a Cane Creek threadless headset. Halfway through testing, the stock rear shock was swapped out for a 2021 Fox float with a 2¼ stroke, providing us with the rear end's maximum allotted 143mm of travel. The shock has a 3-position compression damping switch with lockout and 13 positions of rebound damping adjustment. Unlike the stock shock, the new one allows for the adding and removing of volume spacers to tune progression. Having the chance to ride this bike a few times, the stock suspension was far better than expected. In fact, small bump sensitivity seemed notably better than today's high-end trail and enduro suspension. The old fork did well at gobbling up square edges and big hits alike. The drawback at both ends is the lack of low-speed compression damping and ramp up in the travel for support. While both ends are surprisingly capable of dealing with bumps of various sizes, they waste a ton of energy pumping the terrain, or pedaling, especially out of the saddle. Swapping to the more modern Fox Float rear shock halfway through testing was pretty game-changing. Out of the box, the shock provided improved low-speed compression damping with greater ramp-up. This made a noticeable difference in pedaling efficiency and allowed the bike to more efficiently maintain energy or build speed pumping terrain. The rear end's small bump compliance was still pretty good, and we were able to balance the ride by adding a little more low-speed compression damping to the fork. Conclusion. With the fondest of memories from my old Bullet, this updated Heckler would certainly outperform it. Built partially from parts on hand with others purchased new, this old-school Heckler with modern upgrades cost around $1,500 to build, far less than it would have cost brand new back in 2004. This Heckler is more comfortable, shifts better, and brakes harder than ever before. The addition of the dropper post allowed us to push harder in technical terrain without concern for the seat height. All in all, this Heckler is faster and far more capable than it was back in 2004. If we could send this bike back to 2004, riders at the time would have certainly been blown away with the performance of the modern components. This was undoubtedly a cool build, and a great example of what can be done with your old school dream bike. If you made it this far, you're obviously a fan of this type of content, so please consider subscribing and leave us a comment below. Thanks for watching.